Hello everyone, thank you for clicking on this video today and thank you for coming to my channel. This channel has grown, it's not massive but it's grown a little bit and it's been great because thankfully it's helping people, and that's ultimately what I want to do. I want to help people, reach out to people, and with your support I'll reach out to more people. So do please like, subscribe and hit this channel, because by hitting this channel it'll get out to more people. So if you're going to benefit, then they will benefit as well. Straight onto this video. This video today is about energy prices. Energy prices are going through the roof and there seems to be no one helping us. The first part we need to understand is the bill itself. I'm alarmed and amazed at how many people do not understand how the bill simply looks and what it means. Now, to be able to understand this, it's very simple, but they complicate it on purpose. And the reason they'll give you so much information of the way it is, it's essentially to confuse you to a certain extent. So it's important you understand, you can pick out exactly what the information means, how the cost is essentially evaluated and shown to you. Now, to be able to compare, if you think of switching across to someone else or you're thinking of another supplier, before you can do that, you should be able to understand your bill, and then you'll be able to do that. Because a lot of people assume when they pay their monthly direct debit, that is their bill and they're getting covered. That's not correct. That is an estimation. So for example, if when you started, you didn't put the right figures in of what you expect to use, then come the end of the year or 6 months review, whenever they do it, you could be left with a big bill. And because the prices have increased significantly, the bill could be a lot larger in a lump sum when it's simply thrown at you and you have to then pay that sum rather than splitting it over the previous month. So it's important you understand what the bill looks like and how to analyze the bill essentially, right? Now, first thing, there's a few sneaky charges. First, the common charge is obviously what you use, your electricity or gas. Now, using electricity and gas, okay, fair enough, that's one point. But this here, the standing charge, it's very important to understand. This standing charge is essentially rental for your meters. Now, you think, why am I paying rental? Well, guess what? They charge you for everything. So you have to pay simply a rental. So this first charge is a rental. Now you'll see this bill is a bit more complicated because it's over a period of months and the prices have changed. Now, of course, because the prices are consistently changing because of where we are and of the current economic situation, these prices, therefore, on a bill could be several of them. And you just have to understand and pick out what it is, what you was paying before and what you're paying now, right? So as you can see here, for example, they've done it in this order. So this bill here is from the 2nd of September to the 31st of October. And then it's from the 1st of November up until the 31st of March of this year. And then there's one day of 1st of April, right? Because it's probably just whenever this bill was generated. So that's what the date they did it up to. And obviously in April, the price is increased. So the standing charge, as I mentioned, is like the rental. Now, as you can see here, the initial, so look at the price difference here. So the initial standing charge was 19.4p per day. So that means even if your premises was totally shut off, that's what you have to pay every single day for as a charge. So basically it's about £1 a week at this point here. So you're paying literally £52 a year simply for having the meters at your premises. So you're paying a rental for your meters. So that's what this means here. All right. Now, as you can see, when the prices increased in November, they increased. Look at the price here. They increased it to 23p. So it went up by about 4p, the standing charge. And then they increased it significantly, as you can see, in April when they did the price hikes, and it went to 40p. So from 19p, it went to 40p a day, doubled. So every single day. So that from £52 a year, it's gone to now £100 a year, simply rental for having the privilege of having my meters on my property to calculate their electricity and gas. Right, but that's where we are. So that's the first charge to understand. Right. The second charge, obviously, is the electricity and gas. Now, the electricity, you've got 2 meter reads here, right? You've got this one says your read and this one says estimated. So this means we've either provided the read to them, they've got that read, and this one they have just simply estimated. Now again, this could be wildly off the mark. So the best thing to always do, and depending on whether you want to pay a bit more or not pay, is compare that to your current meter reading. Now, if it's less your meter read, then you can notify them and they will of course reduce this bill. But if it's more and you don't want to pay at this moment in time, then you don't have to tell them and they'll simply charge you for that. But it's advisable to always give them the correct meter reading, because otherwise, if that keeps happening, then ultimately you'll have a bigger bill later on down the line. So it's entirely how you want to budget yourself, essentially. And it could help because, for example, if you're a bit short of cash right now, but you're aware I'm going to get some more money later on, then you can afford to do that. So it's all checks and balances, whatever fits your lifestyle and ultimately your finances correctly. That's something you can do. Now, of course, they'll sometimes, or a lot of the times, they'll send someone out to read your meters. In that case, it won't say estimated. It'll have actually, again, a read, or it's been read, it'll say. Okay, so the difference in this here, these two figures, is essentially what you've used in that period. So you've got whole of September, you've got whole of October. So in them 2 months, this is what this premises essentially used. Okay, so you just simply minus that figure by this figure and it'll give you a difference. So let's do it now, for example. So I've got 71,724. I'll minus that by 70882. That means I've used 842 units. Now that's why you can see that here. All right, that's where forget this jargon here, kilowatts. This here is what you're looking at. That is the units that you have used, okay, or allegedly used because it's estimated. Then essentially, this is your rate. This is what you're paying per unit. So per 1 unit, you are paying 14p in this example. So here, 14p I am paying essentially, all right, for 1 unit. Now, if you times essentially here, that figure times by this figure, it ultimately gives you the price there, £117 for that 2 months. For them 2 months, this is what it cost me, okay? Same here, we've got November. So here we've got November, December, January, February, March. So that's 5 months of basic electricity here, a bill. Again, that and that difference will be 2518 times by, as you can see, it's increased here. So the bill has increased and it equates to almost £500, £482.95 to be precise. Here, they've only billed me for a day, but again, they've apparently used 15 kilowatts or 15 units of electricity, and that was at my read or our read. So we've given them that, as you can see, that figure there. So that's from the meter read. Clearly, we provided that there, and this is what they've got, because I remember it was advised to obviously send them the meter reads on the 1st of April. So I guess that's why it was. Here, as you can see, it's 26p. That's what they've charged. That's what the price has increased to now. So that's the current price. So it's increased from 14 to 26. Almost double. Almost double. Absolutely ludicrous. But that's where we are. Now, the reason this has been increasing is because I'm on the standard variable, right? Now, it's a very, very poor decision to be on the standard variable. You should always, in my opinion, be on a fixed term, because a fixed term guarantees you. Now, of course, guarantees you for a certain period of time. So whatever it's 2 years you agree to. It's normally 2 or 3 years max. You agree to that, and that's it. Brilliant. You're tied in. That that's what you're paying. But when you're on the variable, yeah, it's a bit tricky. Now, I don't know if the price cap, because Ofgem and whatnot be increasing it, I don't know if it's affecting even the people who have fixed prices, but I don't think it is. I think if it's fixed, it's fixed. It's like a mortgage. Once you're on a fixed rate, it's a fixed rate. But of course, when that expires, then you land on the variable. When prices go quite high, what they do is they stop the contracts, because they know it's unpredictable. They don't know what the price is going to be. So you'll notice that the energy suppliers will reduce the contracts available, if any are available, for that specific reason, because they're unpredictable of what's happening, so they don't want to commit. And ultimately, people don't want to commit at that price, because imagine if that does come down, then you will be paying ultimately that price even going forward for the period of time you agree to the contract. So it's important you weigh it up. The general rule of thumb, obviously, this year the circumstances have been totally different of what's happened with Russia, etc. But if that wasn't the case, then you'd always go for the fixed, in my opinion. It's just reliable. You know roughly what you're going to pay in terms of even your yearly cost. So it's advisable, in my opinion, to always do that. Okay. Now, if you come further on down here, of course, you've got some VAT as well at 5%. So it's a lot less than your normal VAT. Your normal VAT is, of course, 20%. So if you go and buy something, you're paying approximately 20%, or the retailer is definitely paying 20% to the government for sure. So that's 20%, but for energy, it's 5%. So yeah, it's less, but it's still there, and you have to pay. So basically on the sum of this, which is my total bill, on £652, it's £32. Now it says total charges for this period is 48 quid, right? Now, and the reason this is £48 is because they have taken over that period £600. So this bill is for about 6-7 months, and that's because we probably paid about £100 a month at that point. It's come to £600 we have paid. So of course, minus that off the 652, you've got 48 outstanding to be paid. Now, of course, the bills going forward are going to be more or less double of that. So you're going to look at 1,200. So in the space of 6 months, we're doubling the payment there, and then they're going to go up again. Now, the reason I wanted to do this video is because, like I mentioned at the beginning, if your bills and you're paying, let's say, £100 a month, that's all good and well, and it chips away at your full balance. But let's assume, right, I was paying £100 a month here, and it came to 600. But let's assume this was the full whack at this price for that whole period. So this, essentially, all my usage here would actually be about £1,200. So if I've only paid £600, and we're left with this lump sum to pay of about £600 here, if that was the case. And that's why it's important to always make sure you're paying enough monthly, so that way you're not left with a nasty surprise when they actually do the final bill. Now, if you're disabled or you're elderly or you're on pension and things like that, it's important to contact your energy supplier, because there are some schemes there available to support you. When I say support you, I say that with a pinch of salt, because we are well aware of the extortionate prices these companies are charging. It's ridiculous. They are absolutely rinsing the public, the government in hand, and it's just sad, but this is where we are at the moment. Let's see if things change. I don't know. Even if they do change, what will they do? They'll reduce it a little bit, and that's it. So you'll still be paying a lot more. That's just the way it is. If you are vulnerable, etc., then contact your energy supplier, because, like I said, you'll definitely have the warm home discount. That's essentially, I think, about £140 or £150 payment every single year, which you have to apply for, and it's given, I think, from October to March or something like that. But you need to apply for it. They won't automatically give it you, even if you have previously been accepted for it. You have to apply every year. So make sure you contact and you get that. £140 at the end of the day is £140. It can significantly help a lot of people. So make sure you do that. On top of that, they also have other schemes as well, which is important to check with the energy supplier, because they have, for example, EDF has something called there's a cap for some eligible people where it goes to a certain price, and if the price increases that on the standard variable, your price will not increase as much. It will still increase, it does increase, but not as much. So it's a little bit, again, more help. But really, in the grand scheme of things, we're all getting robbed. That's to put it lightly. That's just the way it is. But today, hopefully, this will show you just a little glimmer of how to analyze your bill. It's not complicated, and don't let all these numbers just frazzle your mind. It's very simple. Break it up. There's your date. That's the period they're charging you for. This here is ultimately what it should state on your meter outside or inside, wherever it is in your property. This is essentially the kilowatts. That's the difference between these two meter reads of one point to the other point, and this is the price you're paying per unit. So that times that, and there's your price. So it's not too complicated, but just make sure you're paying enough on a monthly basis if that's how you budget, because, like I said, at the end of the day, you don't want to be surprised by a big lump sum which then you have to pay in full. So, and then, of course, don't forget the bill's going to carry on, right? So again, you'll always be catching up, and it's not a good position to be in. So, and if you do default, they can always put you onto the meter. So it's important, if you want to carry on with the normal service of having electricity all the time, not having to run to the shop to top up your card or whatever the service is nowadays, then it's important you do that. So hopefully this video has benefited some people, because ultimately we want people to understand what they are paying and how they are paying. So hopefully this video will help you. Please do like and subscribe. Do share it. It'll be I'll be so thankful if you do share the video to people, especially to vulnerable people or people you think will not know what this essentially means, because it can seem like a lot of jargon at the back and it can be confusing. So help people out, share the message, and together, hopefully, we can do something about this. Thank you, and have a fantastic day.